This isn't the end. Another dream is waiting to begin.
Hey guys, this is my run on Dare to Defy Astreus Stage 6 in D4 Global. This run features the combo of Machina and Queen. Why Machina? Well, there's two reasons. This stage is predominantly first a single target fight, so Machina actually does pretty well in single target damage even though his kit is a little bit outdated. But the second reason also is that later on in the fight, when the boss gets the red aura, you actually need to let the boss take 3 turns minimum, because the boss gets red aura 3 times throughout the fight, and the only way to dispel the red aura is to let the boss take a turn. The boss cannot be killed while the red aura is up. So Machina is useful here for that mechanic because his Furious Blades burst is actually slow turn rate, so he actually delays himself whenever he uses the attack, which means that at the tail end of the fight, when you need to let the boss take turns, Machina delaying himself actually lets the boss take 3 turns slightly quicker than usual. Queen combos well because Queen's BT aura significantly strengthens modified Brave and HP attacks, which is really Machina's Furious Blades burst anyway. So although Machina's kit is a little bit outdated, the fact that Queen's BT aura boosts the damage so much, it actually does quite a lot of damage, and you'll soon see that during his BT mode. Plus, Queen's FR conditionals are actually very good if you are spamming modified Brave and HP attacks that are melee, which is again Machina's Furious Blades. So in Queen's Force time, each use of Furious Blades actually increases your force bonus by 100%. To round off the party, I brought Weiss, and he's actually pretty good for this stage, and it's actually pretty hilarious seeing Weiss fighting Weiss anyway, so I think it's very fitting. But Weiss rounds off the party pretty well because he obviously also provides often damage, and you do need it because this fight is pretty chunky with 650 million HP. But not only that, you do need Weiss's BT to provide debuff immunity as well, because the boss's force attack will land a very nasty debuff on you otherwise. For this fight, we are actually allowing the boss to enter force time on purpose, because we do want to use Queen's FR to cancel the boss out of force time and reset the boss's force gauge. Finally, some notes before I hit 100% force gauge. Firstly, you don't need to remove any speed passive from anyone. Secondly, you do need Queen to start first, because Queen starting first allows her to reach 100% force gauge by the time she gets her second turn. Next up, for Weiss, you do not want to give him the blue crystal U2 passive. That's because Weiss EX buff lasts only 4 turns at the start of battle, and if you raise additional turns from the U2 passive or using additional ability, for example, then you really burn his precious EX buff. This is also why you do not see him using additional ability on Weiss. So long story short, don't give Weiss a U2 crystal passive during his turn, just have him use both Setzer calls and BT+. This way, Weiss ends his turn with 3 turns of his EX buff remaining. So here I'm finally back on Queen's turn, and I'm still a little bit shy of 100%, but this is where her kit and the Lunafreya call comes in. Because Queen just entered BT aura, she has 3 stacks of her overhead, and this allows you to use 3 Balastra lunges with Queen, which is instant and free turn, so that helps to charge the force gauge a little bit. After which, right here I'm using the Lunafreya calls to charge up the rest of my force gauge. This part is actually very important. You want to use Queen's S1 or S2 here. S1 does a bit more damage, so S1 is preferred, but the main reason is her S1, S2 is the one that refreshes some of her key buffs that helps support Machina's damage later on. So don't forget to use her S1 or S2, and you must use it before the boss hits 100% force gauge, because when boss enters force time, you cannot apply new buffs on yourself. One note here, I did have 505 ultimate weapons on everyone, which is 3 sword ultimate weapons, but I think it might be possible with just 2. Weiss and Machina are the main damage dealers anyway, and Queen I think is optional. This is actually an ideal situation because I'm about to use FR and boss just hits force time, so I can instantly cancel the boss out of force time with this force attack right here. Machina has one free turn here because of quick prayer from the Lunafreya call, so I had this opportunity to do one free Furious Blades because it's a free 100% increase in force gauge bonus. So I'm here in Machina's BT mode, and the goal here really is to use his BT mode as a way to quickly increase your force gauge bonus, because each use of Furious Blades is 100% force gauge, so by the end of BT mode you'll be very close to 900% FR bonus. Even though I'm starting BT mode at a very low force gauge bonus, Machina still does a big chunk of damage. That's because his Furious Blades is significantly boosted by Queen's BT aura, and of course the rest of Queen's support auras as well. But not only that, of course we also get damage from Weiss's full up attack as well. And on top of that, because of the ranged LD call, you get knockback on every attack, and you always get full damage from the 2 full up attacks from the knockback, because Queen's aura, Queen's buff actually provides you Brave refund every time you dump your Brave. Using Machina actually brings back very nice memories, I have to say. If I remember correctly, Machina was the second unit that I greened the PT for, the first was Parts. And back in the day when Machina's PT was released, the Furious Blades was so much damage for the meta at that time. And interesting trivia, the number of dumps Furious Blades does now is the same as the number of dumps Furious Blade did back when Machina's BT first debuted. So you can imagine how quickly it really demolishes fights back then. Obviously the HP damage that it does now is much higher because of stronger auras, but the fact that he had like I think 8 dumps from Furious Blades way back in the day really melts fights pretty quickly. Essentially, you know, just going BT plus into BT mode ended most fights back in the era. Those were really fun times indeed. I popped summon here to save on turn count. On hindsight, I don't think this is the best strategy. It's probably better to let Queen take 1 turn and Weiss take 1 turn before popping summon mode. This way you can charge your FR bonus more in summon mode and potentially win the FR race with the boss. So I think on hindsight that would probably be the better option to go for. But on the other hand, one of the benefits of popping summon slightly earlier in this case is that you let the boss start taking turns earlier. Like I said at the start of the video, you do need to let the boss take 3 turns eventually, so you know, if you pop summon later, it means that the boss gets its turn later as well. So pros and cons. Overall this worked out really well anyway, because in this approach the boss took 3 turns just as it drops to 1% health. So it worked out very well in terms of damage. So this is why at the start of the video also I did say not to give Weiss a U2 passive. After this turn, Weiss's EX buff is at 1 turn remaining, so he will run out of his EX buff on his next turn, but luckily right after that, when you come out of summon mode, Weiss can use his EX to refresh his buff, so the downtime from his Pivots of Ruin is minimal. Here I'm out of Queen's BT Aura and I'm out of Weiss's EX buff, but that's okay because the main purpose has been served, which is doing damage. At this point the boss is pretty low enough that you can finish off the boss with the rest of your force retain, and you need to let the boss take turns anyway, so there's no point trying to burst down the boss as quickly as possible. 20% is well enough for you to end the fight. As you just saw during the boss's turn, it actually does a very devastating attack that would likely one-shot your characters. This is why at the start I used the Setzer call. Setzer lands 3 turns of Free Stroker, and you need to let the boss take 3 turns, so it fits perfectly. You'll be protected for all 3 turns and the boss dies at the end of the 3rd turn. This is another benefit of using Machina, I suppose, because Machina counters the boss. So by the time the boss takes its 3rd turn, the red aura will be dispelled and the boss will instantly die from Machina's counter. It would be nice if you can win the FR race. Don't forget you still have Machina's Force unused. Even if you don't win the Force Gauge race, like here the boss hits 100% force time, Free Stroker is still up, so the Reaper plus attack here will do 0 damage. And then Machina's FR is melee, so it will hit force weakness and cancel the boss out of force time anyway. So here boss is really dead. You don't really need Machina's FR, I think, even if the boss is in force time, doesn't really impact your damage too much. And honestly I think the 500% force retain is enough to close off the fight, so I suppose it is possible without Machina's FR as well. That's it. The video has been helpful, and if you enjoyed the content, do leave a like, comment and subscribe. Till then, I'll catch you guys in the next 7 Dare to Defy stages.
May the light forever shine upon us.